Hi, my name is Steve, and today I am taking a look at this Gevi espresso machine, model ECM0-SS0A1. It has a built-in grinder, 58mm portafilter, steam wand, and I'm going to give a little bit of my initial impressions. I've been using this for about a week now, and just want to do some of my observations and see if this is an espresso machine that works for you. Now, full disclosure, Gevi did send me this machine free of charge for doing this video, but they have no say in the content of the video, and they are not seeing this video prior to it being posted. So let's start out with taking a look at what comes in the box. So let's take a look at some of the specific features of this machine. I'll have some B-roll for some of this. Some of it we'll take a look here. It has NTC and PID temperature controls to help maintain the water temperature throughout the entire process. It does pre-infusion when you start either the single or the double espresso. It will wet the puck first before ramping up the pressure to start making the espresso, and it has the ability for you to be able to customize all the various settings of the grinder in how much time it is going to grind your coffee. You can manually override that and manually set that. Also, the output of the single and the double espresso amount of dose output, the amount of your ratio, you can manually customize those as you start dialing in your espresso for your specific coffee beans. This also has some stainless steel components and plastic, so it is a bit of both. I've got a little bit of a magnet here that if I go around, anything that is in the brushed stainless steel is metal and will let you put a magnet on it, but anything that is black is going to be plastic. It has a self-contained water canister, easy to lift handle. This easily lifts up, take it over to your sink, fill it with water, bring it back, put it on the machine, and you're ready to go. So everything all contained, everything you need to start making your espresso. So as I've mentioned, this has a built-in grinder. It has a hopper on top. I'll go through how you assemble that, show you some of the burrs that are inside of here. We'll take a look at some of the B-roll for that. You can take your portafilter, put it underneath, hit the grind button, and it will grind your coffee directly into the portafilter. For me personally, this is an area where I struggled a little bit trying to get the right amount of coffee into the basket without it kind of making a mess. Trying to pull the basket out as it clips in, I found things were spilling, and so I personally didn't care for trying to grind directly into the portafilter. I know that's not specific to this Gevi machine. A lot of machines have that. For me, I just personally didn't care for that. So what I ended up doing was I have some 3D printers. I 3D printed a dosing cup. While this doesn't quite fit, I'll probably redesign one for myself. I'm able to put this dosing cup under here have the beans ground directly into the dosing cup. Then I can take this out, put the coffee into my portafilter where I can then do my puck prep. So I do recommend potentially a dosing cup as a potential additional accessory you might want to think about getting for this machine. The grinder comes with 30 settings. It is a click setting, 30 being the most coarse, 0 being the most fine. And so far in this week of use that I have been doing, I've found that I'm in between the 5 and 10 setting for a lot of the different types of medium to dark roast coffee beans that I use. So it's a very narrow window I found for truly making espresso, and myself not using the pressurized basket. So if you use the pressurized basket, you may find yourself being able to go to a more coarse grind setting. But for the non-pressurized baskets, getting a good extraction in the right window of time, I have found that I'm fairly limited in the range of adjustment that I have. So while this does a good job with the grinds, I haven't had any troubles with it getting caught up or stuttering or any stoppages of the grinder. I feel it does a good job. The grinder is fairly quiet, but it is something to be mindful of if you really start trying to hone your skills at making espresso. If you find you really want to start going down the espresso rabbit hole, you'll probably start having some limitations with the fine adjustments that may be needed within the grinder. I found I was able to grind fine enough to get a good espresso just with a limited range of settings. So with this being a 58 millimeter portafilter, I have other espresso machines that are 58 millimeter portafilters that I've bought some accessories for, and I wanted to see could I use them with the Gevi device. One is a puck screen. And I highly recommend purchasing a puck screen. Might be a lot of debate out there whether they actually help make your espresso better, but one of the things I really like about the puck screen is it does help keep the group head clean when you're doing different types of coffee. So that I know will fit into the baskets from the Gevi because it's 58 millimeter. Instead of the plastic tamper, I have a pressurized tamper that I can push down. That works very well within this 58 millimeter portafilter. I have a dosing ring to go on top to help with putting the grinds in. Now, the thing with the dosing ring, it does cause some issues when you're trying to directly grind into the portafilter. I am also able to take the baskets from some of my other espresso machines and use that in place of the Gevi baskets. So if you maybe wanted to try different types of baskets, they will fit within this portafilter. Now, where I did run into one thing that was not compatible between the different accessories I have is the actual portafilter. So I have a bottomless portafilter, which for me personally, I appreciate the bottomless portafilter over this built-in dual spout type of portafilter. The bottomless portafilter, you can see it's narrower. When the basket's in there, you can see the coffee, the espresso coming through the puck screen. But what you need to be mindful of is the number of ears or prongs that the portafilter has. So for this Gevi machine, it is a 3-prong portafilter in order to fit under the group head. The other machine that I have is a 2-prong, and so this portafilter will not fit into the Gevi. So that's nothing wrong with this device. It's just if you're looking to see is it compatible with the portafilter you may already have, or if you're going to purchase a bottomless portafilter, you need to look for the 3-prong option. And one of the things, as you get further down and want to maybe learn more about espresso, you can put a scale under here. I'll do a little bit of a B-roll here where I tried a couple of different sizes of scales. And the nice thing is you do have a pretty wide drip tray, and it is pretty easy to get most scales underneath here. Now, one of the things with this portafilter, again, where it's not a bottomless portafilter, you have to consider these spouts and how much space that takes up. So depending on how big and tall your scale is, you still have to have room under there to get your cup. So I don't do a lot of milk steaming or milk frothing. I'm not going to dive into that in this video. You can see some of my past videos where I do a little bit more overview of using the steam wand for frothing milk. But what I did want to show is the ability to make an Americano. So after I've made my espresso and I just want to add hot water to top it off, you simply, on this dial, you can turn it to the water setting to the left, which will start putting hot water into your cup. If you turn it to the right, that's where you do your milk steaming. And one of the things I liked about this machine and the way it dispenses hot water is it does it in one steady flow. On some of the other machines I've had, it's a pump that is constantly on and off, and you hear the pump pulsating, the water pulsates as it comes through the nozzle, and I never cared for that as much from a noise, from the amount of time it took, and I do prefer on this one, the way it dispenses the water, I have found to be a big improvement. So we'll show that. So once it gets going, it's got to get started. But now you'll see the water is just coming out all on its own. It doesn't stop, it doesn't spurt, it doesn't go in pulses. One steady flow of water through the nozzle, and that I feel is a very big improvement. And you'll hear it there dispensing the water into the drip tray. So that is where this machine is dispensing water into the drip tray, and you have to remember the machine does that itself. So don't forget to empty the drip tray. Now the other thing this machine has that I have found to come up a few times, this has a high temperature safety feature that prevents the machine from getting too hot and overheating some of the components. So if you are running the grinder too long, it will pause the machine. As you're running water through the steam wand, you can only fill so much before it starts sensing that it's getting overheated. And what will happen is you'll see these two lights start flashing. So if you're using the machine, these two lights start flashing. You want to turn off any of the water, whether you're steaming or doing any water, just put it back to the neutral position. Give the machine a few minutes to cool back down, then you're okay to start using it again. So that's a nice feature to have, but I did run into that a few times, and it is something that might catch you off guard if you're not sure why the machine isn't working. So that's my overview of the Gevi ECM10 all-in-one espresso machine. One of the things I really enjoyed about this was the ease of use. And more recently, I have been leaning more towards manual grinders, lever espresso machines, and really taking my time to learn more about truly getting into the art of making espresso as well as enjoying the espresso. And I found it rather refreshing this week as I was using this machine at how easy it was. The ability to simply get up in the morning, turn it on, grind my coffee, press the button to make my double, fill it with water, and all from this one unit was very nice and very convenient. And the ability to manually dial things in still gives you a good range of learning capabilities as you still want to maybe get deeper into learning about the art of making espresso as opposed to just simply drinking espresso. So I hope you enjoyed this. Hope it gave you a little bit better insight into this Gevi espresso machine. If you're interested in this product, Gevi does have a sale going on Amazon. They sent me a discount code. That'll be down in the description. And I really hope you enjoyed it. Hit the like button, helps me out a lot. Subscribe if you're interested. Otherwise, enjoy your espresso and have a great day.